afternoon, sir. We are in the group 2.
My name is Paulo Solo, Ubukisan Jr.
My name is Mia Vilimas. And I am Jamaica Andrade. I am Rachel Valverde.
And we will be Hala, Gina Castillo, Dimar Flores. And I am Kevin Price,
We are here in front of you to report about the frustration aggression theory, inferiority complex, and Alfred Adler's theory, delinquent subcultural theory, rational choice theory, choice theory.
Frustration aggression theory. The frustration aggression hypothesis, also known as the frustration aggression displacement theory, is a theory of aggression proposed by John Maynard Miller, Leonardo Orban Maurer, and Robert Sears in 1939 and further developed. The frustration aggression theory states that persistent leads to aggressive behavior. Example, imong research paper niya, ang imong gamit is na nawa ang network ba? Yan. Example na frustration aggression theory na Johnny was constantly chased by a larger child on the playground, but he was scared to verbally or physically stand up for himself because he was frustration and aggression on his little sister upon returning home from school.
This is my report, sir. Inferiority of complex. Australian psychologist Alfred Adler has introduced the term inferiority of complex as defined by the Cambridge Dictionary of Psychology in Adrian Psychology, a combination of an erroneous beliefs of an individual that they are unable to cope with some aspect of life because of a real or imagined physical or psychological deficiency. Feelings of depression and cessation of coping efforts in the area. In other words, a general term for a personal sense of inferiority. An inferiority complex usually occurs when the feelings of inferiority are intensified in the individual through some adverse events, including discouragements or failure. So people are at risk for developing an inferiority complex. Usually reflect signs of low self-esteem or self-worth, or have low status in their peer group. Depression can also be seen in such people. This aspect should be solved through the effective theory of personality. All essential components of human behavior are highlight potentially due to the presence of theories personality by Alfred Adler. So, ang kuha niya, sir, is example sa mga inferiority complex. Poor eye contact of soft tone of voice and passive communication style.
This is the continuation of the report on the narratives. So, along with this, the notion of ego psychology is also highlighted potentially by this aspect. This theory of personalization can play an effective role in maintaining negative feelings or inferiority. He is able to provide all effective information regarding opposite in the inferiority complex, superior complex, overwhelming the sense of inadequacy has been analyzed potentially through the theory of personality. So, meaning of this report, meaning of this, uban niini, ang mga ideya kuno sa ego psychology, mahimo usab nga pasarugda sa kini sa mga aspeto. So, kini sa mga teorya sa pag-personalize, mahimo adunay epektibo nga papel sa pagpadayon sa negatibo nga pagbati sa pagkaligmayo. Mao na yung panani meaning. So, karesenta sa this personality theory of Alfred Adler helped us to learn about the basis of human behavior in maintaining the feeling of security, a sense of belonging in one's own community and society. So, has been analyzed authentically by this theory of personality, highlighted by this theory of personality. Interconnection between society is also potentially highlighted by this theory. With the people of pure fictive resources, it is easy to highlight that all kinds of mental illness and psychological disorders are maintained by the theory of personality. So this approach should be employed with children, adolescents, adults, and other individuals. So meaning sa dani, kini kuno nga mga teorya kuno sa personalidad ni Alfred Adler, nagtabang ka nato sa pagkaton bahin sa sukaranan sa pamatasan sa tao, sa pagpadayon sa pagbati, sa pagkawalay ng kaslanan. So, sa kaslanan. So, ang usa sa tulong sa pagbati, pagsakop sa ugaling o ng komunidad, nga o katalingban, diusi sa tinuod ng panamaagi sa kinuha teorya, sa teorya sa personalidad. So, mga niya, meaning nga niya sa duha ka
Analyzing psychological types through personality theory. Alfred Adler was able to analyze all types of psychology potentially. In addition, the manifestation of different levels of energy has been highlighted through these psychological types. So, si Alfred Adler kuno kay na siya gipon nga upat na categories sa psychology. So, first is rolling type, second, dealing type, third, avoiding type, and lastly, socially useful type. So, kini rolling type kay the general tendency toward aggressive and dominant characteristics is highlighted potentially due to the presence of ruling type of psychological type that possess an intense energy potential. So, kini ruling type, kung siya ang assertive and decisive leadership, active mo handle na leader. Kanya, leader ka kung saan mo pag-handle ang situation na nahitabo sa inyong community or something na yung nasa kuka. So, sample scenario na niya kay a manager taking charge in a crisis, making decisions for the team. Second is leading type. The sensitivity of people has been highlighted potentially by the psychological types. This psychological type helps them to protect themselves. The lack of energy and dependence on energy are highlighted successfully by these psychological types. People with this psychological type are more prone to phobias, anxiety, and general anxiety. Inclined toward a particular option but open to flexibility. Mo-adapt or mo-consider pa siya o laing opinion or perspective sa ubang tao. Kanya, like, di lang siya mo stay sa iyang perspective ba. Kanya, or sa, pero flexible siya in next, not stick to one or sa iyang paminaw. Kanya, pa rin paminawan ang opinion sa uban. Ano siya, ang living type. Sample scenario na niya kay
A team leader favoring a certain project direction but failing to adapt based on team input. Next is avoiding type. People of this kind of psychological types face problems due to their insufficient energy. People who avoid types of psychology are more likely to develop psychotic symptoms. So, a team lead prefer side-stepping conflicts are difficult decisions. Kung ano siya kanang dili siya nagmaoning as a leader, nagkitay ka o mga conflict o problem na di ka ganahan fix ang problema. Like for example, kanang sa mga movie, nga itong makita kanang usa ka manager ang iyang subaro sa problema kaya ang iyang employer ba. Dali yan, kaya hindi tayo agree. Socially useful type. Kining socially useful type, people of this psychological type are physically strong. Along with this great social interest and energy are noticed among these people. Paano? Priorities, contributions that benefit the community or society. Or ang socially useful, mauni siya ang ga-focus dyan sa mga positive things for the community, like unahon sila mga nasakupan kaysa sa imuha before other things.
Delinquent subculture theory. Albert Cohen's theory of delinquent subculture offers a different way of understanding crime from the classical rational choice theories and Merton's train theory. It is a complementary theory that helps explain crimes that are non-utilitarian, malicious, and negativistic. That is to say, crime that does not have any rational goal but is done simply for the hell of it. Cohen, 1955, 25 to 26. For Cohen, the explanation for juvenile delinquency of this sort is cultural in nature. Juvenile delinquency represents a particular type of subculture. Children learn to become delinquents by being socialized into youth gangs where they learn the beliefs, value, codes, and tastes of the group. Cohen, 1955. As with many early criminologists, Cohen saw juvenile delinquency primarily as a working class male phenomenon. This is because working class youths are taught the democratic ideal that everyone can become rich and successful, but in school they encounter a set of distinctly middle class value against which their behavior is measured. The delinquent subculture presents young boys with a new set of value and a means of acquiring status with a different cultural context. These new values are an inversion of the middle class standards that working class boys are judged by in school.
Means of acquiring status within a different cultural context. While the act of thrift may bring material benefits for Cohen, it also reaffirms the cultural cohesion of the group and the status of its members. For Cohen, the juvenile delinquent is a pure male. Cohen, 1955-140. What about young females? Do they not also engage in group delinquency? In this area, the theory of delinquent subculture reflects gender stereotypes of the 1950s, Cohen, 1955. Argues that females do not get involved with the gang activities because their status is determined primarily by their relationship to males, and therefore they do not suffer the same forms of Cohen. Whether or not this explains the cause of female delinquency, it certainly represents society's reaction to the behavior of young girls during this period. From 1914 explain why most Philippines eventually turn to more conventional law-abiding pursuits to attain status in adult life. Perhaps, as Bordua 1961 suggests, they are just out there looking for fun. Also, if juvenile delinquency is the result of working class status frustration, how do we account for the growing phenomenon of middle class gangs in the lower mainland of British Columbia today? So, according to Cohen, these delinquent subcultures are characterized above all by the deviant values and morals. So, karang nagkuha siya na reflect na siya sa gangs and sa mga middle class. So, which enable their members to gain prestige and recognition. The behavior that is displayed in the subculture is fundamentally different from the outside subculture because of these new norms. For society as a whole, they seem deviant, often criminal, as an alternative status system. However, subculture justifies hostility and aggression towards non-members, thereby limiting possible feelings of guilt. So, ang example ano dahil kay a boy from the lower classes always strives to adapt to higher social strata, but is confronted with expectation and goals that he can fulfill due to his social background or cannot achieve to rigid social structures. In direct comparison with middle-class boys, he has to recognize his own low status, poor, prestige, and little chance of success in business and society. The resulting problems of self-respect ultimately lead to merging of several such boys into alternate subgroups which are defined by their immigration from the attainable middle class. So, ano siya sa kanang kadamdam ko. Yang mga kuan ang uban kay ganang mga high class gani na nasa mga middle class. Yang uban ang sa poor di siya ka sana. Kanang kuan basta pa-enroll sa kanang may eskwelahan ba. Dili siya kanang mga kanaparendato manabilong sa mga karon ng middle class.
Choice theory. This chapter will build the philosophical underpinning of choice theory, which first appeared as a classical phrenology. Our discussion will then turn to more theoretical models that follow from the concept of choice and hold them because criminals are rational. Their behavior can be controlled or deterred by the fear of punishment. This stance can be explained by a growing intense fear of punishment. These models include situational crime prevention, general deterrence theory, specific deterrence theory, and incapacitation. Finally, the chapter directly reviews how choice theory has influenced policy making in the area of criminal justice. The development of classical theory. Theories of crime based on the rational decision-making or motivate criminals can trace their roots to the classical school of criminology. As you may recall from chapter 1, classical criminology was based on the works of Cesar Beccaria and other utilitarian philosophers. At its core was the concept that people choose all behavior, including criminals' behavior. People's choice can be controlled by the fear of punishment, and the more certain and sweet the punishment, the greater its ability to control the criminal behavior. In keeping with his utilitarian views, Beccaria called for fear and certain punishment to deter crime. Because people are egotistical and self-centered, they must be goaded by the fear of punishment, which provide an unliable motive for them to obey the law and suppress the despotic spirit that resides in every person. So, choice theory emerges. Beginning in the late 1970s, a number of criminologists began producing books and monographs expounding the theory that criminals are rationalists, actors who plan their crimes, fear punishment, and deserve to penalize for their misdeed. So, atong late 1970s, most nga criminalists sugod sa kahimong nga libro o monographs na nagpatinaw sa tema nga mga kriminal mao nga pagkatarunganon nga mga aktor nga nagplano sa ilang mga crime na nahadlok sila sa mga silot sa kanang pag-punish sa kung makabuhat ka o hindi maayo. So the concept of rational choice. According to the rational choice approach, law violating behavior occurs when an offender decides to risk transgressing after considering both personal factors, such as need for money, revenge, fear, or entertainment, and situational factor, how the target is protected, the efficiency of the local police force. Before choosing to commit crime, the reasoning criminals evaluate the risk of apprehension, the seriousness of expected punishment, the potential value of the criminal enterprises, and his or her immediate needs for a capital gain. So, based sa rational choice approach, ang paglabag sa balaod na kinaiya mahitabo kung ang unsa nakasala nakahukom sa risgo at transgressing human sa konsep sa duha ka personal nga mabutang. So, such as need for money, revenge, and stress determined, sama sa panginahanglan alang sa kwarta, paglilamos, pagpanimalos kahina o kalingawan, o sa sitwasyon ng mga manhinungdan, kung sa kamaayo o sa ka-target na ipanalipdan ang effective sa local na person sa polisyal. Then, before choosing to commit crime, o sa sitwasyon, sa wala pamutulyan pagbuhat sa crime, ang mga kriminal na nagtatarungan, nagtimbang-timbang sa mga risiko sa pagkakot, ang kaseryoso o ipaabot ng silot, ang potential nga bili sa kriminal ng negosyo, magiging dihat, nga pinahanglan alang sa kriminal, aron makaginansya.
Offense and offender specifications. Rational choice theories view crime as both offense and offender specific. Offense-specific crime refers to the fact that offenders will react selectively to the characteristics of particular offenses. The decision of whether to commit an individual will vary. For example, might involve evaluating the targets like the cashier, the vulnerability of a captured life. It refers to the fact that criminals are not simply driven by people who for one reason or another engage in random acts of antisocial behavior before deciding to partake in crime. They analyze whether they have prerequisites for committing a criminal act, including their skills, motives, needs, and fears. Criminal acts might be related out of potential offenders perceive that they can reach a desired criminal goal through legal means, or if they cooperate to be responsible. So, dili tanan nila mag-commit of crime no. If magplano sila nga mag-commit of crime, ilang tanawon kung kaya ba silang skills or sa ilang kung kaya ba nila nga makuha na nila o sa ilang plano like mag-rob sila, kaya ba nila nga dili sila madakpan, of course sa may dibahan na madakpan, diba? So, before sila mag-commit of crime, so ilan lagi ang palatandaan. And rational choice theory possesses that a criminal rational chooses the crime to commit and the target of crime. Criminals evaluate available information to decide whether a crime is attempted or illegal. Criminal behavior is entirely on the situational aspects because society can achieve high degree of crime prevention by focusing on the situational aspects that influence particular types of criminal behavior. Rational choice states that people really choose their behavior and are motivated by an avoidance of pain and pursuit of pleasure. So, as what I've said earlier, before sila mag-commit of crime, so ilang sa ginang tanawon ko, ang ilang ang ibuhat kay baka benefit or baka gain sila something, baka before sila kaugalingon.
and